Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we have our last episode of the podcast before Thanksgiving, which we're going to take a week off for. Just so you guys know, we are not recording a podcast next week, but we'll be back after that, and then we'll be gone again for Christmas and New Year. So we basically take between 3 and 4 weeks off a year, I think. We always take off Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and then we always take off like some random other time in that range throughout the year at some point, because one of us has like other plans, so we just wing it and cancel one or something. But I wanted to get that out up front. But today's podcast, we're going to be talking about Murderbot. This was an Apple TV series that came out earlier this year. We're talking about it now because until now, I don't think either of us had Apple TV Plus. You had it early on because you had it, I think, for free because you got an iPhone or something, right?
Yeah, I had a free trial. I mean, that was a while back, though, at this point.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, before Murderbot was out, yeah. Yeah, it was like a long time ago. I had a free trial. I haven't been subscribed. Like, I was subscribed to Apple TV a little bit, but I wasn't really using it. And then, like, at one point I canceled, like, all my Apple subscriptions, except for, like, Apple Music, which I still use regularly. It's funny, people are like, Spotify. My thing is Apple Music. I don't have Spotify. I have Apple Music. But, but like, I was like, I'm not really using Apple TV Plus, but now I am because a show that we are going to be talking about down the road, Pluribus, came out, which is a new show by Vince Gilligan, which I was very hyped about. And
for anybody waiting for it, we're not going to be talking about that until like probably about the middle to late January or something. We got stuff booked up.
It's down the road, but it's the reason me and Tyson jumped into an Apple TV Plus subscription, and this podcast
if you have it, use it.
Tonight's podcast was really born out of just looking at what's available on the service now that we're newly subscribed and just trying to find interesting things, and we found Murderbot, which is an interesting thing that we want to talk about.
My philosophy is basically, besides the stuff I regularly watch, like South Park and stuff that's already on, I'm not picking up any new shows that are starting on any other streamers. I'm only watching Apple TV Plus stuff, just because there's a lot of stuff on there, and I'm subscribed for a few months, so I'm just gonna get my money's worth, and then some, by just watching like everything I possibly can on it. And so Murderbot was an obvious one. It was one we had reacted positively to the trailer for, and we said, let's just do fucking Murderbot. And so that's what we're doing. We're doing Murderbot this week. And in addition to that, we've got our On the Horizon segment, and we also have an On Beat segment, which is our news segment. We've got one story and 3 trailers to go over, but let's get started with our On the Horizon segments. On the horizon. So one other piece of information before I jump into the On the Horizon segment is that this week's On the Horizon segment is going to cover 2 weeks because, as I mentioned already, we're going to be gone next week. So we're kind of covering the gap. We're telling you everything coming up for the next 2 weeks rather than the next week. So if it seems a little longer, that's why. And we're just going to start now. Stranger Things is returning for part 1 of season 5, which comes on Wednesday, November 26th on Netflix. Zootopia 2 is coming to theaters on Wednesday, November 26th as well. Troll 2, not the old B movie, but the follow-up to the recent Finnish movie Troll, meaning from Finland, is coming on Monday, December 1st on Netflix. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, that's the, I believe that's the beat 'em up, like.
Yeah,
Marvel
it's the
game,
new,
right?
beat 'em up, yeah.
Isn't it the same team that did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one?
I believe it is.
That's coming on Monday, December 1st to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Switch, and Switch 2.
You know what? I'm loving this new renaissance of 2D brawlers. I hope it continues.
The Abandons, which is the new series from Kurt Sutter, the creator of Sons of Anarchy. It's a Western and it stars Gillian Anderson and Lena Headey, is coming to Netflix on Thursday, December 4th. I should note that this is from Kurt Sutter, but he left before the end of the series. So like the last few episodes are not him. The creative differences. But the rest of it was him, and that's Thursday, December 4th on Netflix. Octopath Traveler 0 is also coming on Thursday, December 4th to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, Switch, and Switch 2. This is kind of an adaptation of the mobile game, but like reinvention, I guess might be a better word. But basically using what was there for the mobile game that they made and then going like, okay, well, let's turn this into like an actual game. Toxic Crusaders, talk about beat 'em up games, is coming on Thursday.
That's another one. Yep.
Coming on Thursday, December 4th to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Switch. There's no Switch 2 version yet, I believe, but it's like a pixel art 2D beat 'em up, so it really doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those games where like a Switch 2 version isn't like really needed.
But I gotta say, I mean, you got Octopath Traveler 0 and Toxic Crusaders both coming out on Switch 2 in some way on December 4th, and really there's no place for any other game to drop on that day for Switch or Switch 2, is there? You really can't have any other game drop that day.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty stacked day. I don't know.
It's gonna be, anything else that comes out is just gonna be crushed by those two juggernauts.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why we regret to inform you that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is also coming on Thursday, December 4th to Switch and Switch 2.
Good luck to that
Poor
game.
soul. Nobody's even anticipated this.
That game is gonna get ignored.
People probably have never even heard of it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, people have been waiting years for a Toxic Crusaders game.
Exactly.
Jay Kelly, which is a movie that stars George Clooney and Adam Sandler, where George Clooney plays an actor who's kind of re-examining his life, comes to Netflix on Friday, December 5th. Spartacus House of Ashur is coming on Friday, December 5th to Starz. I need to figure out how we can stream that. I guess maybe we have to subscribe to Starz at some point. Down the line. We don't have to right away, but I think you and I both need to see that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 comes out on Friday, December 5th in theaters. Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair comes out on Friday, December 5th in theaters. This is both movies combined with additional footage and like a break between them or something, like an intermission. But it's all being put together like one 4+ hour long movie, basically. And that's coming on Friday, December 5th to theaters. Hamnet, this is Paul Mescal and Jesse Buckley. It's I believe about Shakespeare writing Hamlet. The movie's called Hamnet because it's about, him writing Hamlet on a dedicated BBS server that he called Hamnet.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just a period piece movie, about, I believe about William Shakespeare writing Hamlet. That is what it's about. I don't know what Hamnet has to do with anything.
I don't know. I'm seriously confused here.
But that's coming on Friday, December 5th to theaters. Jujutsu Kaisen Execution. This is the next Jujutsu Kaisen animated movie, is coming on Friday, December 5th to theaters. And Fackham Hall, which we talked about the trailer for. That's the spoof of the Downton Abbey type shows and stuff. That movie is coming on Friday, December 5th to theaters. So that was our On the Horizon segment. And now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat, as I've mentioned, is our news segment, and we've got one story and 3 trailers to go over. Our first news story is that after cancellation, Poker Face, which was going to have a 3rd season, I believe Natasha Lyonne decided to pull out and then it was canceled. I think that's what happened. Did she decide to pull out as the lead and then it got canceled? Or maybe it was the other way around. I'm not sure. But anyways, Ryan Johnson, the creator of the show, was pitching it around to other streamers, and his concept that he's trying to pitch and trying to get going, which this has not been bought yet, so we don't know if this is even going to happen, is to have Peter Dinklage replace Natasha Lyonne as the same character.
Mm-hmm.
So, you haven't watched Poker Face, have you?
No, I actually haven't. So,
It's a really good show. It's a really fun,
I heard it's a fun, mystery.
He says instead of like a whodunit, he calls it a how catch 'em.
Right.
Which is kind of fitting. I think that works. Yeah, Ryan Johnson's kind of like his new career since, honestly, it's kind of like his career started in a way. But, he did stuff like Looper, and then he did like a Star Wars movie, and now he's just been doing nothing but like mystery movies, like murder mysteries and stuff, like of the old style, like the Knives Out movies, and then he did Poker Face and stuff. But it's kind of going back to what he came from, because like the first kind of big movie he had, I'm not sure if it was his actual first or like the first bigger one, was Brick, which was like a noir, like a teen noir movie.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I saw that. That was a fun movie.
Yeah, so it's kind of in a way like he's going back to his roots.
It's really interesting. Natasha Lyonne is out as the star of Poker Face. Peacock canceled it. Not exactly sure specific reason Peacock canceled, but Ryan Johnson does want to continue it, and so he's shopping it around. But the bizarre twist is that he is going to recast the main character, Charlie, with Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage is attached to this. He's selling this around with Peter Dinklage attached to star. That's the current offer, which is interesting. Like, he's Doctor Whoing it.
Yeah.
Presumably, I haven't seen Poker Face, but, like, presumably this is, like, so there's, like, no sci-fi hook to explain it.
There is
like
no
Doctor
sci-fi
Who
hook.
has.
The closest thing to sci-fi in Poker Face is that the character of Charlie is like a human lie detector. He just has an uncanny ability to tell when somebody's lying. That's it. There's like nothing else. There is a villain later on that's like an assassin that kind of feels like almost mythical as well, but it's not like ever explained as something supernatural. It's kind of like, when you watch like Hannibal, Hannibal Lecter is like supernaturally good, but it's not actually supernatural. You know what I mean?
But what I'm talking about is there would be like no narrative device to explain how
none at all.
Natasha Lyonne turned into Peter Dinklage. So we would just be expected to kind of roll with it.
Yeah. Which is cool. I wonder how they would do it. I wonder if they would do it kind of like almost like a reboot, or if they would do it as if the past 2 seasons still existed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is he gonna like reference things that happened like in the past, like to Natasha Lyonne's character as if they'd happened to him? Are they gonna like do like a flashback scene and it's gonna like retcon it the way James Gunn did in like Peacemaker season 2? And like the opening episode where he retconned stuff from like Peacemaker season 1?
Right. Those are interesting questions. But the funny thing is, like, Rian Johnson, basically said that if the series does continue, if it does go on, he does want to cast a new actor for the lead role for Charlie, like, every 2 seasons.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. I think maybe the reason he wants to do that and the reason that idea is so that he can continue the show, but the main actor doesn't have to be committed to do a 20-season series and get burnt out. So you could switch it up. He can keep the show going without the actors feeling burnt out.
That would be my read on it too. Like Peter Dinklage did, 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. He's kind of moved away from TV, and he probably was reluctant to get himself attached to a TV show again,
Right, yeah.
And that probably was part of the negotiations with Peter Dinklage, was Rian Johnson saying, look, I know you probably don't want to get attached to a long-running TV show again, so here's my idea. You'll just be in it for like 2 seasons, and then I'll recast you again.
Right, yeah.
There are some reoccurring characters in Poker Face. It makes me wonder if they'll be back. I don't know.
We don't have specific details on like anything about this. Again, it's a huge question mark as to whether this is going to happen, because at this point somebody needs to buy it and somebody needs to purchase it and redo it, and we don't know. That's all up in the air at this point. So like, it's impossible to even get into granular details like that. I'm sure that's stuff that's going to be figured out after a deal is in place.
Yeah, I hope it happens. I just think the idea is so novel that I hope it happens just so we can see that. I also hope it happens just because I'm a fan of Poker Face. I thought the series was great. It will be weird to have somebody else besides Natasha Lyonne. She's pretty distinctive.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, yeah,
it's like when you have somebody that's very distinct, it's hard to replace them, especially with somebody else who's also very distinct.
Yeah, I was going to say, Peter Dinklage is also very distinctive. So, yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be a little weird, but it's also going to be, like, that's part of what makes it novel and fun. So I hope it happens. I hope we get something else. And it would be a kind of cool way to rejuvenate it, because after season 2, I don't really know where else they would go with Poker Face, but doing this actually kind of would refresh things, you know? So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Now let's move on to the trailers. We've got 3 trailers to go over, 2 kind of like regular trailers, but then we've also got a trailer that comes with a lot of other baggage that we're going to discuss, and it's a longer trailer. It's an overview trailer for a game. But let's get started first with the first 2 trailers. We got a new trailer for Fallout. So previously we had one at, what was it, at the Game Awards where they showed the first footage for season 2?
Yes, it was I believe it was the Game Awards last year. Or was that Summer Games Fest?
It was one of those. I can't remember.
I think it was actually the Game Awards last year.
Yeah, but it was very limited footage.
Yeah, it wasn't much footage.
It did give us the idea. Like, it did show us kind of who seems to be the overarching villain of the season. It did show us kind of like, oh, it is really going into New Vegas stuff, and it showed us some creature from New Vegas. And so it's like, okay, yeah, we kind of get an idea where they're going with it. But this is like a much more complete trailer.
Oh, yeah, this is a much more complete trailer. We see a lot more in this trailer of the story. We see,
seeing a lot more of like Lucy and the ghoul. And
Lucy, the ghoul, like Lucy's father, Kyle MacLachlan, hanging around in the power armor. We see like very much that they are in this season. They are definitely like in New Vegas.
We even see that guy who became a ghoul at the end of season 1. He popped up in this trailer too. So he
pops up in this trailer.
Interestingly, we did also got a scene where we had kind of our 3 leads all together, where we get like, I don't think we've seen them in a scene together, but not like working together or something. But there was a shot where it showed like them walking, and you see the ghoul, and you see Lucy, and you see the guy in the mech suit. I can't remember. Maximus. Yeah, Maximus.
Yeah.
All kind of like walking together with the dog as well. So it's like, oh, there's all of our leads together, like on the same page or something.
Oh yeah, and of course, like there's all kinds of stuff too. Like if you played New Vegas, you'll recognize a lot of things. At the end, they showed like the ghoul and like Mr. House, who was like an AI like running New Vegas and confirming he's still around.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the Kings are shown in this trailer. The Kings are like a group of survivors who like are basically like Elvis impersonators.
Yeah.
They worship Elvis, but like in this, they've all turned into ghouls, which is interesting.
Mr. House, by the way, his name wasn't coming to me, but I just looked it up so I could have it. Justin Theroux is playing him.
Oh, Justin Theroux. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. He's one of like the major, like if you play New Vegas, like there's 3 major factions. There's Caesar, or is it Kaiser? Caesar's Legion, the New California Republic, and then like Mr. House.
I think they referenced the New California Republic was in season 1, weren't they?
They referenced them in season 1, yeah. I don't think like they're active anymore, like
weren't they like
to season 1.
Weren't they in California, I believe, in season 1?
They were in California, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they're like moving into Vegas. Yeah. Season 1, like they're in the West Coast.
Yeah.
So,
Vegas is fairly close to Los Angeles for anybody who does not geographically know. It's not super close. It's like still about a 4-hour drive or something, but they're like within range,
Well, it's interesting and Kaiser's Legion is basically a fascistic army of psychopaths who are basically trying to take over the Hoover Dam.
Mm-hmm. Are they based at like Caesar's Palace or something?
No, there's no Caesar's Palace in New Vegas, interestingly enough. But it's interesting because you see somewhat of Caesar's Legion in this trailer. See Macaulay Culkin making an appearance as a member of Caesar's Legion.
Yeah. I believe we'd heard that before, that he was in this season.
I heard that he was in this season too, so it's interesting we finally got to see him, and we got to see what team he's playing for, and he's one of the bad guys, it looks like.
He's gonna set all sorts of booby traps.
he's gonna set all sorts of booby traps. It looks cool, and then one of the last scenes in the trailer is Maximus gearing up to fight a Deathclaw in his power armor, which, good luck to him, because those things are, like, uber strong. Not even power armor can, at least in the game, not even power armor can save your ass from them. So that's exciting, and Ron Perlman's in this.
Yeah, I mean, Ron Perlman has been attached to Fallout the games for a while.
Actually, we don't see him. We hear his voice in this. We actually hear his voice, and presumably he's going to be playing a super mutant. Again, we don't see him. We don't see any super mutants in this trailer, but it's presumably what...
He's just like a narrator in the games, right? He's like the guy that always says, war never changes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's just like a narrator role, so it's interesting to kind of bring him in. That's kind of like the way they do it with like The Last of Us, like the TV show where they bring in a lot of the voice actors and stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, so really cool trailer. I'm really, really excited, hyped for this, honestly. It's coming out in December, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's launching, so like, yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Next, we got a trailer for Stranger Things Season 6. No, I mean Cold Storage, starring Steve from Stranger Things.
And Liam Neeson. I never thought I would see Joe Keery and Liam Neeson in a movie together. That seems weird.
Too many generations apart.
Not too many generations apart. It's like, it's just interesting. Liam Neeson is like a major seasoned movie star, and Joe Keery hasn't like been in much that I've seen to this point. He was like obviously he's from Stranger Things. He was in like the last season of Fargo. He still feels like a television actor to me.
Yeah.
You know, like he's making that leap.
He's a musician too.
I like Joe Keery though. This movie looks like a heck of a lot of fun. It's one of those zombie apocalypse movies, but it's got like a unique spin to it.
Kind of reminds me of the more like gonzo zombie type stuff we would have gotten in like the 80s or early 90s.
Yes.
That has been kind of coming back. We are kind of getting like a resurgence of that kind of stuff.
I think that's why like it appeals to me, because like, yeah, it's got that gonzo like B-movie vibe, but like...
Mm-hmm. We used to have like all these weird movies in like the 80s and early 90s. We had stuff like Night of the Comet and stuff like that just, we don't really get stuff like that anymore. But recently we've been getting stuff like that again, you know?
Yeah.
We got stuff like that. We talked last week about a trailer called, what was it? Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. That just kind of also had kind of this weird gonzo vibe to it, you know?
That I also like, you know, like I vibed with. They look good. So like, yeah, like we're starting to get weird, fun movies again, and I'm all for it. Like, yeah.
Give us our gonzo. Give us our crazy weird shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So Cold Storage looking good. And then the last trailer we got to go over is for a game we already mentioned tonight, and that is for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We're not just going to be talking about the trailer, which was an overview trailer. It was like 7 minutes long, which unfortunately means we're probably not getting that Metroid Prime 4 Direct. This is probably it.
That was most definitely it. We should probably just do an overview of like what we saw and our impressions, our thoughts.
I should note that we're going to be talking not just about the trailer, but also around the same time that the trailer came out, the embargo ran out on first impressions from a lot of journalists that got to play the game, and so there's stuff in there that's related.
I'm going to tell you, like, right now, off the cuff, I did not watch or read anybody's first impressions about this game. I only watched the overview trailer.
You did not see, like, all the negativity around the one character?
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I have to play the game. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna just take a few things out of context and be like, yeah, this is bad. Okay? I don't know. Like, I gotta play the game. That's my stance.
There is a character in this game called Miles McKenzie, who is by pretty much every measure of people.
This is kind of like,
this is like a really annoying companion character.
This is kind of like the big new thing in Metroid Prime 4 is that at least at certain points in your adventures, Samus will no longer be solitary. She will encounter other characters and presumably be teamed up with those characters for a short time. I don't think they're going to be persistent throughout the whole game. I do believe there's still going to be solitary exploration, but you are going to run into these characters. These characters are in the game. This is, as far as I'm aware, a first for the series.
Yeah, they've kind of been leaning in this direction. Prime 3 had a lot of characters that were in the story that you didn't really, like, have as companions or anything, but they were, like, throughout the story. You fought some of them because they got, like, corrupted.
Right, yeah.
But they were kind of leaning away from the isolation with Prime 3 by doing that, you know? And then Prime 4 is, like, kind of taking that to the next level by having, you know, these characters actually be kind of companion characters for you. I think what a lot of people are having issues with is twofold. It's specifically this character, because the people that got to play the demo and stuff, it's all around this character. You don't meet any of the other companion characters in the demo that the press got to play. It's only this one character. And this character in particular is, like, really annoying to a lot of people. Like, they just don't like that character. Like, not even just the fact that it's a companion character in general, but that character specifically they object to. They find him extremely annoying. Also, it is, like, a very, like, annoying, apparently, companion character in the sense that he's, like, always screaming whenever an enemy pops up, and he, like, tells you to do things that are, like, are obvious without giving you a chance to figure it out yourself.
Oh,
like, he'll say, like, you know, oh, I think there's something over there on that door. You should look at it. Like, that kind of shit, you know?
I'm kind of guessing that this is near the beginning of the game, and this character... Yeah, and I'm guessing...
like when you first arrive on the...
Oh, so it's a tutorial. It's a tutorial.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
hopefully, because there has been
exactly,
a trend in games recently.
It sounds exactly like a tutorial where, like, the characters
there has been a trend in, like, the last, I don't know, 5 years or so of games that have been adding full-time companion characters that do that, like, constantly tell you...
Oh, no, I don't think these characters are meant to be full-time companions throughout the game. I think they're temporary companions. So, like, to me, I'm speculating here. So this sounds like you start the game, you get there, you run into this guy, like, pretty much right away. He joins you and basically tells you how to play the game. And then, like, you get to a point where, like, oh, you've helped him, he leaves. And it's like, oh, well, you know how to play the game now. And then it goes on from there. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, apparently, some people were objecting of is there's a part in the quest where you go through and you're with him, and they were most people were kind of accepting it as like, oh, it is a tutorial character. And then you finish the tutorial part, like the beginning area, you get through to the goal, and then he says, well, I'm just gonna stick around with you. And so for like the rest of the demo, he stuck around with them through the demo or whatever. And they were like, oh God, come on, get rid of him. They also had a part where somebody was playing it and he died. And it warns you, like, he died, you have to, like, revive him or something or heal him or whatever. And
like, no.
The player was like, no, I don't care. I'm going to leave him to die. And when he left him to die, it went to a game over screen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the game's not going to let you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people were, like, really annoyed about that. Like, oh God. And then that same player, this is the reviewer or the previewer for IGN that I'm mostly referring to here. I've read other things and watched other videos, but he's the guy that kind of was like the most perturbed by this and was really writing about it and making videos about it and stuff. Another part of it that really kind of got under his skin is that some games have been having this issue with, like, these companion characters that kind of give you clues about everything. If you go into the settings, you can, like, kind of adjust how much they interrupt you, basically. Like, you can say, oh, you know, only give me story dialogue or whatever from that character. Or, like, don't give me hints, basically. Saying, like, just only give me story relevant shit, don't give me hints. And there's, like, a setting to do that so that it doesn't do that tutorializing shit on you constantly, telling you where everything is so you don't have any chance to discover it for yourself. And there was apparently no option in the menu. Like, they actually paused and went through, and there was no option at all to do that, which is unfortunate. I mean, this was also a demo, so that might not have had everything in it, you know?
Right, yeah, it's hard to say with demos because demos are curated experiences.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it could be different in the final product.
The other thing people have been talking about a lot is that in the trailer, it shows, like, a bunch of the different companions, and several of them, I think, like, 3 of them, had, like, lines of dialogue in the trailer where they talked about, like, how they love their family and they just want to get back to their family. And people are like, oh, so they're red shirts.
Yeah, they're red shirts. Yeah, I saw that. So you
explain what a red shirt is, Will, to the people who might not know or listening.
Oh, geez, yeah, yes. Red shirts, it comes from the original Star Trek series, the 1960s Star Trek. Basically, in Star Trek, different jobs on the ship, people wore different color shirts. The command captain is gold, science crew is blue, and then engineering and security or whatever in the original series is red. And basically the majority of unnamed extras on Star Trek all wore the red shirts, and they're usually the ones who just got killed off unceremoniously because they were not important.
Yeah.
Whenever the script called for somebody to like just get killed, it was some random extra wearing a red shirt.
In wrestling, they would be called jobbers.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
They're just there to get killed, basically, to move the story forward, or like, they're there because they're expendable. They want to like have a high stakes situation, but you're obviously not going to kill off Spock or Kirk. So who do you kill off? You kill off Ensign whoever that just happens to be there that nobody's ever met before.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So the characters talking about their families just reeks of like death flags. So the idea being, you know, oh, well, if a character keeps talking about it, it's kind of like the trope of a police movie where like the guy's partner says, you know, it's my last day on the job or something. It's like, oh yeah, that character is definitely going to die, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's like another big topic of conversation from the trailer with the companion characters. I have to say, one real positive I'll say about these characters is, man, like their face models look fantastic.
They do.
The graphics on Prime 4 are kind of iffy. Like sometimes they look great and sometimes they look a little bland because sometimes you really see the Switch 1 of it all. And sometimes you're hard pressed to see the Switch 1 of it all because like the art direction is so good in an area that like you just don't notice how flat certain things are and stuff. But man, like the character model faces look fantastic. Like they put some resources into there.
Yeah, I think like overall, I think the game looks gorgeous. The art direction is so fantastic. Again, you can get away with weaker technical visuals if your art direction is on point. And I think it is in this game, just judging from like all the footage I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's weird about this is like, I say, there are times when I'm watching footage of Metroid Prime 4 where I'm like, okay, this just looks great. You know, it just looks really, really good. And then there are times where it's like, okay, this looks very old and dated.
Yeah.
Especially like the desert scenes. Like the desert scenes in particular look very old and dated. You know?
Yeah, the desert scenes look pretty sparse, which is the other interesting thing about big departure in Metroid Prime 4 is apparently now you have this, the way they described it, it's essentially
I wouldn't call it open world. It's like an open hub. Yeah.
Yeah, the way they described it, it's a hub. It's this big open desert and you get a vehicle to traverse it now. You get like this motorcycle and basically you're driving around to the location of your next mission from the way they say, and there's enemies in the desert that attack you while you're like driving around, but it doesn't, like from the footage I've seen, there doesn't seem to be any real content filling that desert, like any real like POIs other than this is like where the next mission is.
They did show like some weird thing in the middle of the desert that seemed, it seems like there are certain things there. Maybe it's just like almost their version of a challenge room. Like you go into it and then you get like maybe a missile expansion or something like that, you know, something like a really generic kind of item. Cause Metroid has a lot of those. Like you get your missiles the first time and it's, oh, now you've unlocked missiles. But then there's also like tons of like missile expansions.
Yeah, there's upgrade. Yeah, there's upgrades.
Yeah.
And there's a certain fun in Metroid games and trying to find all the upgrades and trying to like 100% max your character, even though like that's never necessary to finish the game.
Yeah, I think that might be what those other things in the desert are.
Right.
Like you go from one big area to another by traversing the desert, but then you could also just kind of go around the desert and you might find like a spaceship that's crashed, like in the middle of the sand dunes somewhere. And if you go in, like maybe there's like a couple enemies you fight and then you beat them and there's like a missile tank or something.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be maybe stuff like that happening in the open world, but probably nothing significant besides just getting to the other parts of the world.
Well, that's interesting. I'm still looking forward to Metroid Prime 4. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it. I want to see like how these new elements play within the context of the final game before like I judge it. Yeah, they could be horrible. They could be game ruining, but like I'm not a fan of the NPC. I'm just gonna say right out. Like I watch that and I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this guy either, but I want to keep an open mind. I want to see how things work out in the final game. I do want to give Retro the benefit of the doubt here. So I'm not going to like join the people who are like leaning hard into like the negativity right right now.
Unfortunately, it is a Nintendo game, which means, like, unlike Cyberpunk, you're not going to be able to fuck these companion characters.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I mean, if you can, that would be very surprising. I'm turned off by the companion characters, but I mean, I pre-ordered the game. I'm getting it.
Right, fair.
I pre-ordered it digital so that I can just have it loaded up and ready, so that once it hits midnight on release day, it just works. It's on my system and it's running. That's my plan. So I'm still looking forward to it. I'm just, I don't know, a little nervous. I think with each trailer, it's kind of gotten a little bit weirder. You know, the motorcycle thing came before that, and it was like, oh, what's going on with the motorcycle shit? No, it's this one. It's like all the companion characters. It's like, oh, what's going on with the companion characters? But I don't know. I'm still gonna get it. I already pre-ordered it. I already paid for it. But that's Metroid Prime 4. Anything else to say about that trailer?
No, that's basically my thoughts.
All right. So then let's move on to our final segment of the night. Full spoilers. This week on Full Spoilers, we are talking about Murderbot, as we mentioned previously. So yeah, just to give a very, very general basic idea of what Murderbot is for anybody who has not watched it before we go into full spoilers. So
it's a very simple, it's a very simple concept, really.
Yeah, robot becomes sentient. Dystopian spacefaring world where a corporation kind of runs everything and they own all these robots and people rent them out to go on expeditions or whatever, and the robots are supposed to protect them. The robots, I guess, are supposed to all be kind of sentient, but they're not, like, they're limited. They're sentient but limited. And they have a governor chip that controls them.
Yeah,
But they made a reference to it. First I thought, like, oh, this one became sentient and uninstalled his governor chip. But some of the other characters made reference to the fact that all of them are sentient.
Yeah, they're all the same. So I should point out right away, this series, this is not drama. This is not horror. This is a comedy series.
Yeah.
These are 30-minute episodes, and it's not like a wacky comedy series. Everything is played straight.
It's like action comedy.
Everything is played straight, but the main characters are like a little quirky, a little goofy, and
very unlikable, I think, for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
I mean, you come to care about them and their relationships and stuff, but they're just not likable characters.
They're kind of like naive and clueless. They're space hippies, essentially. Yeah, he gets assigned to protect this group of space hippies. And another thing is, like, the series is heavily narrated by Murderbot himself. You hear, like, his inner dialogue.
Yeah, you're in his head. You're in his headspace.
You're in his head, and he is very snarky. He always has some quip.
In his head. It's also worth noting that, as I mentioned, all these robots are sentient. They have a governor chip that kind of stops them from having autonomy. He has disabled his own governing chip. And his humans that he's protecting don't know that. At least not initially.
Yeah, initially. And I love the world building they have too here, because the main worlds are run by this giant soulless corporation, and they produce these things. And then one episode they go into like the production of the Murderbots, and you can tell they're basically put together by people who are like indentured servants, and like half the time they don't like really give a shit about their work, so they do like shoddy work, and their supervisors are usually like, that's terrible work. And then they're like, yeah, fuck it, we're gonna use it anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, these robots, they're called sec units. Security units aren't exactly made to the highest standards in the first place.
And he's also an outdated unit.
And he's an outdated unit. And also, this sec unit has gone rogue, but they kind of point out, like, that's a thing that seems to just happen regularly with these sec units. These sec units seem to, like, regularly bypass their governor modules and go rogue. This is a thing that's happened dozens of times in the past, apparently.
Yeah, and the corporation just doesn't give a shit. They're just like, oh well, whatever.
Yeah, they just melt them down and, like, recycle them.
Yeah. Our Murderbot is played by Alexander Skarsgård of the Skarsgård family of the Dynasty of Actors.
Yes.
Formerly Eric Northman in True Blood.
True Blood, yep. So basically, it does start that he's on a mining colony protecting these miners who he, like, refers to as, like, assholes, because they are.
Yeah.
Like, that's an asshole. And then, like, he hacks his governor chip, and then presumably he murders all these miners.
No, he has a messed up memory in his head that's like kind of scattered and mixed up, where he's killing a bunch of people and he doesn't understand where it comes from, and that's apparently not the miners. That's something else, like previously from before that.
I thought they literally looked like the same setup. I don't know. Okay, he has a messed up memory of him murdering a bunch of people that he can't reckon with. This is a plot thread that's not resolved in season 1. Even season 1, this has been renewed for a second season. Season 1 has a pretty sewn up story.
Yeah,
it's resolved at the end of the season, but this is like one of the dangling plot threads that is left to be further explored later.
So the structure of this series is very similar to like something like Altered Carbon or Reacher, also based on book series, where it's like a long running book series and each book is kind of a self-contained adventure with like the same main character but an entirely different cast besides that. That was the case with like Altered Carbon, even to the point where the main character changed bodies between, different seasons and stuff because he was planted into a different body, a different outer shell or whatever. And you look at something like Reacher and it's a character who's kind of nomadic and he travels around and there's certain characters that recur through like all the seasons and stuff, but most of the time it's him and some random people that he encounters and then gets involved in some situation. That seems to be what they're doing with Murderbot as well, where we might see some characters, like maybe we'll see some of these characters from this again at some point in the series at some other point, but the next one's going to kind of not really focus on them. It's going to focus on him in a completely different situation.
Yeah, he leaves the humans at the end of the season, and that's a very, like, emotional episode, to be honest. They kind of, like...
I have to check the perimeter.
Drops the comedy and gets, like, real dramatic, but it's probably, like, the best episode of the season. But I should also point out, among the human cast, I don't recognize most of the actors, to be honest, but I do recognize one, David Dastmalchian, who plays an augmented human.
He's a favorite of this podcast.
Yeah, he is a favorite of this podcast. He's been in so many good things. He plays a character that does not trust the sec unit. And
he's an enhanced human. He can, like, interface with machines.
Yeah, he can interface with machines. He does not trust the sec unit from the beginning, and he eventually finds out that Murderbot has gone rogue, and his deal confirms that Murderbot and Grothin sort of have this antagonistic relationship for the majority of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Yeah, they kind of only come around to each other in, like, the last episode or two.
Exactly, which is fun. Another fun thing about the series is the series within a series, because, like, one of the first things Murderbot does as a free agent, free from his governor module, is he downloads just hours and hours of entertainment programs and just watch them.
Yeah.
In fact, he basically says the number one thing he'd rather be doing is just watching these shows.
Yeah. The point where he's erased important documents that like they needed at some point in the show, but he erased them because he wanted the storage space for more TV shows. And one of the most prominent shows, and one that they show us clips from constantly through the series, is this program called The Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon, which is like kind of Star Trek-esque, but also kind of soapy.
It's like a cross between Star Trek and like a soap opera. Days of Our Lives meets Star Trek,
Here's got some actors that you recognize.
Yes, and this show within a show that we only see like tiny, barely minute-long clips scattered throughout various episodes of the series. For something that does not get a lot of screen time, it has like a pretty stacked cast. It's got John Cho as playing the captain, Jack McBrayer, Clark Gregg, DeWanda Wise. Yeah, it's like kind of crazy. John
Cho, as everybody knows, especially like from, his most beloved role in Cowboy Bebop, the live action version. No, from Harold and Kumar, probably most people would recognize him. Jack McBrayer is from 30 Rock. He's the guy like the page for the NBC studios. Clark Gregg is from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the first Avengers movie. And Iron Man 2, I believe, right?
Iron Man 2, he was in that. Clark Gregg has some like very ostentatious facial hair.
They all have like crazy hair. John Cho's got like a weird like pompadour.
Yeah, he's got like this pompadour. Like everybody looks like insane in this. It's funny that they got these actors for again. There's probably like 5 minutes total of this throughout the entire season.
That's probably how they got them.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, hey, do you want to dress up and wear like really weird wigs and facial hair and do like some really cheesy soap opera-y stuff for this show where you're only going to be in it for a few minutes? And we could do all your filming in like one day. And they were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Like, sounds fun.
Yeah, that's fun. But like, also I'm watching this, I'm like, if they just made this like a real show, I'd probably watch it.
Yeah, they constantly reference this because Murderbot like quotes this show constantly. He almost screws up at the very end, like when they're taking on the villains at the end, because he's like improvising and he uses like a name from the show and quotes something from the show, and a guy is like, something's off about that, and then eventually puts it together like,
because like, yeah,
like,
what
Sanctuary
the guy,
Moon.
because like what like the guys working for the bad guys like actually like knows the show.
Yeah.
It's like nobody else does. Nobody on the survey crew that he's protecting knows Sanctuary Moon or like watches it.
They know about it, but they're like, they're just like, oh, that crappy soap opera show, and then Murderbot gets all defensive. He's like, that's top quality entertainment.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Alexander Skarsgård like kills it in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not long. It's 10 episodes. They're all half-hour episodes. So it's like
some
5
of them are even
hours.
shorter. They fly by. Like I was going to sit down and watch 2 episodes at one point. I ended up watching like 3 or 4 just because.
I watched 4.
They went by so quick.
Yeah, I watched 4 in like one sitting.
Yeah.
At one
there was
point,
one time, at one point where I was watching and like, I'm going to stop it after the second episode, and all of a sudden the credits were rolling and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll watch another one.
Like, I was sitting there watching it and I was like, oh man. And then the credits rolled. I was like, what? Did I just start this?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the first season of Castlevania, the animated series on Netflix. Like, they would have an episode that was just like 17 minutes long, randomly, you know? Like, they'd have like these weird episode lengths. Some of the episodes are like 30 minutes. I think the first episode is 30 minutes. I think the last 2 episodes are like 30 minutes. Or
30 minutes, definitely, yeah.
But then some of the other ones are like 20 minutes, maybe even less.
So it's definitely on the shorter. Yeah, it's a breezy watch. It's a breezy, fun watch. The plot isn't super complicated. The basic plot, I could summarize it, is like this robot who went rogue is protecting the survey team, these space hippies who are
slowly endearing themselves to him.
Slowly endearing themselves to him while they're being targeted by this organization who wants to exploit alien technology that was discovered on this planet and are just trying to get rid of them, get them out of the way.
Yeah, just get rid of witnesses, basically.
Get rid of witnesses. Murderbot helps them save the day, and Murderbot further endears himself to the group, and then eventually leaves them at the end.
I love how just pathetic the humans are.
Yes.
And how that it's a big part of the show is like how he just doesn't get them, but it's not just he doesn't get them, it's like he doesn't get them because we don't get them, because they're so fucking naive and stupid.
Okay, he's constantly like everything he does is constantly like stupid fucking humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite parts was when they first got attacked by the actual group. Not the mole that joined them for a little bit, Labibi, but they got first attacked by one of the robots, and they kept trying to help, and like they would like one of them would throw something and nothing went right. Like everything went wrong. And then afterwards, after like they somehow made it through because like an alien ended up eating the other robot or whatever. After all of that happened, like they're like, okay, well, what's our plan for this? And they're like, yeah, you know, we could totally do it. We did great. And then it's showing like Murderbot remembering like the last thing they did to help and how like catastrophically wrong it went with like each member, and like just they're so confident, they're so like proud, and he's like, no.
He did everything, you know. Yeah, it was a fun show. Apparently, I've looked it up. It has been renewed for season 2 by Apple TV, so it is coming back. I will definitely watch season 2. I enjoyed it. It's not a super deep show, but it is a pretty fun show. Yeah,
fun
that's my opinion.
Yeah. So it's an entertaining show. It does kind of have this weird. I mean, there's some good stuff going on as far as like art direction and stuff. Like the sec unit suits look really cool and stuff like that, you know. But it does kind of have this like low budget overall kind of look aesthetic to it, you know? And it really reminds me of like 90s TV sci-fi. Like we're talking before stuff like Game of Thrones said, oh yeah, our prestige stuff is the sci-fi, you know? Before that, when something had like sci-fi elements to it, it looked really cheesy, you know? And it was up to the writing to like make you go suspend all that disbelief caused by the cheesy effects and stuff, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So it kind of has like a Star Star Trek, Stargate, Babylon 5, that kind of like cheesy, light, like weird, low budget aesthetic to it. Even though it probably is significantly higher budget than most of those shows, just because it is a modern show, it still has that kind of aesthetic to it, which is like some might find that bad, but some might actually find that really charming. In the same way, like a lot of people like Doctor Who and stuff like that's another one. Doctor Who, Stargate, things like that. They kind of have this like little bit of cheesiness to them, but people still really dig it. They like that aesthetic and they like that kind of presentation. This kind of has that. It is kind of like that. So if that stuff offends you, like if you watch that kind of stuff and you're like, ugh, I don't want to watch this garbage or whatever, then this probably isn't going to do it for you. And if you like that kind of stuff, this probably will do it for you. So I wanted to kind of point that out as like a last thing or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I was going to say, besides Alexander Skarsgård and David Dastmalchian and the cast of the TV show within the TV show, the only other person I recognize is the actress who played Labibi, who is the weird hypersexualized person they think they rescue and is just a mole for this evil organization. But yeah, like she was in that Pen 15 show or whatever, where like it had those two comics that are like, I think at the time were in like their 30s, but they were playing like preteens or something. And the rest of the cast were like appropriately aged. So it was like very weird. I don't know if you ever heard of that show, but that was a really weird comedy on Hulu. So she's in that. So I recognized her.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's it. That's Murderbot. Anything else to say?
Nope.
All right. So as I mentioned, next week we are going to be off for Thanksgiving, but in 2 weeks we are going to be doing Stranger Things 5 Part 1. That's because that comes out on Thanksgiving. So between when that comes out and when our next podcast is, we're going to get our chance to watch those episodes. It's going to be the first 4 episodes of the season. So they'll be coming out on Thursday, and then we're going to be podcasting the next Wednesday after Thanksgiving, and that is going to be our topic. So watch Stranger Things 5 Part 1 and tune in for our discussion of that in 2 weeks' time. Until then, thank you everybody for listening. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I am at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will. He is at VoxelHero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. I normally say thetotalscreen.com, but I just realized recently that I wasn't being billed for that domain anymore, and then found out that something happened where the company I registered it through, like, sold it to another company, and then, like, they just never renewed it with me. So we don't have thetotalscreen.com anymore. That's a situation I need to fix. But until then, you can go to thetotalscreen.blogspot.com to find our website, and it's basically the same website and everything. It's always been on Blogspot. I just don't have the URL directly to it. But yeah, so check that out. You can also subscribe to our podcast to your favorite podcast client of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Cast, and the entire backlog of our podcast, as well as additional content, is available on our YouTube channel, so check that out as well. Until 2 weeks from now, after Thanksgiving, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.